All right, Eli, we're live with the Facebook audience. To start, what are your expectations for this season as a senior and in your fourth year with the program?
Try to win a lot of games this year. Last year didn't go how we wanted, and I feel like we have a full team coming back, and I feel like we can do some great things this year.
And what impact has Coach Johnson had on the program so far since you started working with him?
On and off the court, he's impacted us a lot, specifically consistency. If there's a way he wants things done, we do it the same way every time, and he's the same person every day.
And what are you looking forward to most this season, both on the court in your play and as a team?
Just possibly shocking some people. I feel like some people are disrespecting us, picking us seventh. I feel like we can be a top three team in the league, possibly even win it. I just feel like possibly being able to shock people this season.
And during the off season, what has been your biggest growth as a player?
My biggest what?
Your growth. What have you gotten better
Probably diet with Coach Johnson coming in. I changed my diet completely. I went from a lot of fast food, candy, things like that, to and Coach Johnson has a lot of resources for us. He brought in a dietitian named Miss Emily. And I think that's my biggest
at? Excellent. And then what is the impact that fans have? And there may be an opportunity where this year is a little bit different with how we're kind of running the games, but the support you get from the LMU fans and the students around there.
I think it will be pretty big this year, especially with us having a new coach and going in a new direction with the program. I feel a lot of people would be excited to come out this year more than previous years. So I think possibly not having fans will miss that a lot.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Eli. We'll switch you out and bring in Coach Johnson. All right. Thank you for joining us today. Do you have an opening statement of how the last week or two has been going at practice?
You know what? We're getting better. I feel like every week we're starting to see who we want to be in terms of our system. I think every week we're starting to understand at a much deeper level what we want to stand for in terms of our culture. And like I've told our guys every day, at the end of the year, it's not just going to be the wins and losses for me. It's going to be who are we culturally? What do we stand for? And are we living up to the things that we have put on paper and on the walls and those kind of things? That's what matters, because if we can get that right, like I've said, all the other stuff will follow. But in terms of basketball, our guys are getting better. They know what to expect when they come to practice. They have an understanding of how we want to play. We're nowhere near being good at it yet, but we're working towards that.
And to start this week, the WCC put out the preseason poll. With the way that it all shaped out, there's a lot of good teams in this conference. What is it that this conference brings that may be different for some people who are not familiar with the WCC?
Well, our league is elite, and I've said this. It's rated the 8th rated league in the country last year. I mean, that's up there. And, you have great coaches in our league. The last time we were here, I said it, you've got a Hall of Famer. You've got coaches that are, years from now, we're going to look back and go, man, what a great coach he is, right? You've got some young, talented coaches. You got great fan bases. And you've had programs that have played in the tournament and made runs in the tournament, programs that are invested at a high level in basketball. This is a basketball conference. And, every year, especially out west, there's years the Pac-12, depending who's older or whatever, is up there. Some years the Mountain West is up there. Some years the WCC's up there. I mean, you can flip a coin in terms of those leagues. They're all great leagues, but I certainly think our league is right up there on the West and obviously nationally. So every night is a dogfight. So how do you pick who's going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in our league? I mean, obviously Gonzaga's got a rich history. What they've done, is incredible. So they belong there. BYU obviously belongs there, but St. Mary's, what Coach Bennett's done. I mean, those programs have obviously separated themselves, but every night you're going to have to bring it, and that's what we love about this league. That's why I love being a part of it and coaching in it, and what I'm looking forward to the most.
And along with the poll, the conference announced the preseason team for the league this year, with Eli Scott being announced as a member. Can you talk about your expectations for Eli in his senior year?
I expect Eli Scott to be elite, and that's actually a word he has chosen, his word for the year. And elite is in everything, an elite defender, elite offensively, elite in terms of how he carries himself on the court, what he brings to us every night, his energy, his leadership. He's got a chance to be one of the most dynamic players, not just in our league, in the country, if he puts his mind to it. And the thing about Eli, whatever he puts his mind to it, he can do. And that's my expectation. And my expectation for him is very high. And it needs to be. For us to be good, he's going to have to be all those things and more. So it's a great honor for him to be, recognized as an all-league guy. But you got to go out there and do it. And I'm sure he will. And if he does that, it's going to be great for our team, and it's going to be great for him, in his life as well.
And we're about just under a month away from the start of games. Can you talk about how practices have kind of revved up in these last couple of weeks, and what progression are you seeing from the players?
Yeah, practices, obviously are going, and we're trying to create the type of urgency and intensity that you're going to see in a game, because the difference between this year and every other year in college basketball, you don't have a preseason in terms of a scrimmage. You're not going to have an exhibition game. And on November 25th, when we roll out there, it's what we got. So we've got to make sure that all our practices are close to, if not, has a higher intensity than what we're going to see in a game. And we have to create that, because you don't want to show up on November 25th and you're doing a test run. So our staff is trying to apply game pressure to our players, every day that we're with them. We're adding new things systematically, and, so it's on them to really pick that up and study it. But the train's moving, and it's moving a little faster because you have a condensed time. You have so much that we have to get done. But the urgency within the program is what we're trying to create, and it has to go up. And I hope, again, as time goes, we're not going to be the ones as coaches creating the urgency. It's got to be our leaders. It's got to be our players. And we've got to become a player-led team where the sense of urgency is coming from them. And when we get to that point, then we'll have a chance to be good.
Are there any players that kind of stick out at the front of your mind of who have stepped up and taken that more of a leadership role and helped the team get to this next point?
I think we have, a lot of guys trying to do that day to day. We're not consistent with that yet. And that's where we have to get, where we have a consistent group of people doing that. And, sometimes when you talk about leadership, people think you've got to be leading the team. Sometimes you just got to lead yourself. It's the kind of energy you bring, the kind of preparation you bring every day. And that's the first step. We got to do a good job of leading ourselves and showing up every day and being consistent in who we are. And then once you become that, now you have the ability to bring other people with you.
And shifting over towards National Signing Day coming up in November, what is it that you look for in recruits, and is there something to expect on November 11th for this next class?
Yeah, the biggest thing we look for are guys that, number one, have high character. High character guys that we want to be around every day. Number two, they've got to be talented. And we have to continue to improve our talent level here. We want guys that can not just only play in the WCC or LMU, but can play anywhere in the country. And the three things, our core principles that are important to us: are they selfless? Are they people who will connect? And are they relentless in everything they do? So as we're evaluating, future players in our program, those are the things that our staff, is trying to stick to as our guiding post.
And then lastly, any final words as you approach this last month before games begin?
Well, I'm just excited to see who we become in the next month. And, we have a long way to go. I love who I'm with. I love who I'm doing this with. But we have a lot of room to grow between now and November 25th. And that's a good thing. And I do think individually there's a lot of growth and there's a lot of areas each guy can get better at. And if we can find that and get to that point, we have a chance to have a great year. Do I expect us to be playing our best basketball on during the first game? No. I hope we're a team that gets better as the season goes on and we're playing our best basketball in March. That being said, though, we have to become a team that starts fast, starts the season fast, starts games fast, and that's part of that relentless spirit and attitude that we're trying to cultivate here. So I'm excited about every day that we have in terms of practice because they're very small and they're running short, and I'm looking forward to see who we become before the 25th.
Perfect. Thank you, Coach.
Awesome. Thank you.